All right, so let's take a look at the higher time frame, and I'm going to go over just where I believe the market is headed and what kind of reaction we can be expecting going forward. So obviously we had a bit of this rising wedge on the daily, and tons of traders, tons of spectators were thinking that the market's going to crash, we're going to sell off, we're going to pull back. But if we weren't looking at this rising wedge, we have to realize we were making higher highs, we were making higher lows, and this area right here is when Trump was voted into office, not inauguration. This is back in November. So this is when Trump was voted into office. The market had a very strong reaction. And since then, the market has failed to break those lows. So even though we had strong selling over here, some selling over here, I still fail to be bearish. I refuse to be bearish if these lows remain intact. And that's because we're creating higher lows, and because bull markets can be a lot harder to trade than a bear market or even a range bound market, because bull markets don't have good support or resistance to trade off of. So let's take a look into the lower time frames. We're going to be looking at the hourly right now. Now, something I wanted to mention was we were sort of in this range bound right here. We ended up having a pretty strong sell-off. This was Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern last Friday. So this was last Friday, about 5-6 days ago, and it was 1 p.m. Eastern, sort of the middle of nowhere, but this was the market's reaction to something that Trump announced, most likely something along the lines of the tariffs, which, by the way, guys, quick little update on tariffs. The new tariffs going on to Mexico are paused, and the new tariffs going on to Canada are also paused. I do believe China's tariffs are intact. I have to look into that. I'll put something out for you guys shortly. And yeah, hopefully we'll see what the market does. We'll see if this trade war continues. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think about the trade war, if you think it's really going to happen, if you think it'll help the economy, or if you think it's a bluff. Now, as for where the ES is going, I looked at my pre-market prep this morning and I said, well, we have our area of resistance right up here, and we saw that this was an area of support. So it was support, we gapped below it, then it was resistance. Okay, so that tells me that without breaking this level, I can't be bullish. So now comes the indecision of the market, right? I can't be bearish because we're already holding those lows, but I can't be bullish because we have yet to break this major key level, which we did just recently. Something I did note as well was the ES was making higher lows. Now, I do want to mention every morning I do a pre-market prep, as every trader should, so they have an idea of what direction or where they believe the market should be going. So this morning I was looking at the ES, and I said the ES had a very strong move lower and gap down Friday into Sunday, bringing us from 61.35 all the way to 59.40. We're currently at the 60.43, trying to make our way back higher. This is when we were right down here, 60.43, trying to make our way back higher. I was looking at some key levels. We had our supply zone key level right here. We had our demand zone. I was looking for a liquidity sweep of the low of that demand zone. So when the market opened, we were opening right over here. So I had a few trade plans at this point. I either wanted to see us sweep this lower time frame, internal sell side liquidity to hold demand, because now we have a higher time frame demand zone with a lower time frame liquidity level. So I wanted to see that for a long position, or I wanted to see a strong break above this resistance and to use it as support again.